And everybody here, Pokemon Fun League faithful. This is the pre-draft intro, I believe, is what I called this here. This is just a little thing-a-ling we're doing before the draft, which is next week. It is starting here with a live broadcast, and it is not just me helping you through what might be some of the changes for the season at hand. Well, of course, I will introduce myself as your former champion, El Zubador, taking on a more I'm the enforcer this season, I think. I'm Commissioner Enforcer. I am Joe.
I am also your former champion, resident shit talker. Your main man, Manny. What's going on, guys?
Manny, the draft is 1 week away. We are going to be doing, much like last season, a live broadcast of the first round of the draft here. But before we do that, we thought it might be a good idea to kind of go over some of the rule changes that we got going on, along with some of the other things as we're going into the new season here.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just getting itchy for some content, Joe. That's all that's happening. I'm just roping you into my schemes.
Well, I am always 100% game for content. So, really, there's one big rule change we need to talk about this season here. Now, the introduction of Z Captains. When does that harken back to? Season 4? Was that the first season we did with Z Captains?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. So, Z moves. We know that Z moves are a big, powerful move, but we have been prudent, I'd say, about letting in all of the Z moves, and even then we aren't letting in all of them this season, but Z moves that say a Z Rain Dance, a Z Hypnosis, things like that. Before, not game, but this season it's game.
Yeah, man, we're gonna open up the floodgates a little bit. Not only with our rules that we make, but with like the tier list things that we do. We are always like super duper cautious when we first introduce new things, because we don't want something to be so totally broke and then have that one person just storm all the way to the finals. So we like to try to be a little bit proactive with our stuff, and who knows, maybe we'll loosen up the reins a little bit on some other aspects of the league too. But I just felt that after playing with Z moves and getting a handle on them, I just feel like that adding the captain and the co-captain clause can really help expand some of our strategy, and really let the people who put the thought into their team building and their battling, really let them shine.
Well, it's just that, Manny. Our battlers know the Z captain. Now, how is that changing moving into season 8 here?
All right, so we're going to do our 11-round draft in our crazy draft modified format thing that we do. And then we're going to have 2 rounds afterwards, or maybe we could just put it into one. We'll do 1 round afterward, and then you can pick one Mon from your team to be your Z captain. And your Z captain can use any Z move minus the Omni boosting ones, so that your primary captain can use the Rain Dance, the Hypnosis, the Parting Shot, the Belly Drum, things like that.
Right, yeah, the only Z moves that are not allowed in this scenario are, I believe, Happy Hour, Celebrate, Conversion,
things like that. Things that increase all the stats. Komodo's special one, Clangorous is not allowed.
Yep, you can't use Comomium Z or whatever it's called.
Right.
So that is a banned item.
Right. You can use other specific Z moves, like we did allow the Incineroar one, and we allowed the Primarina one.
The Tapu ones, Tapumium or whatever.
Oh, yeah, those ones are allowed. And anyone can use those. You're going to then select a Z co-captain, which is kind of just like...
what was a Z captain, essentially.
Yes. So basically just only the attacking moves. Nothing that boosts or anything like that. So just the standard Twinkle Tackle, Corkscrew Crash, Tectonic Rage, Infernal Overdrive,
so
Havoc, like that.
For example, you might want to make Kyurem Black your Z captain if you go with Kyurem Black, because I don't think you're going to run into... I don't think you're going to want to do much other than Z Dragon or Z Ice, a Z Freeze Shock or a Z Outrage or whatever, or what have you.
Right. Basically the only difference is like the Z co-captain was the Z captain from last year, pretty much, and just the Z.
Nope, I lost you there for a second, Manny.
Oh, did you?
Oh, there you are. Okay, you're back. Nope, no, you're not.
Is just the and in this season is just a little bit more dynamic.
Yep. So, all right, I got you back there for most of that, so that's good. So, yeah, basically what it boils down to is it adds another layer of strategy to everything here, where you see, say, now a lot of people with their Z captain, they might make it more obvious, like you go with an A Persian or something, so you can use that Z parting shot, or a Xurkitree, so you can use that Z hypnosis, and you assume when you see it, oh, well, that's obviously he's there for that reason. But again, you bring both of the Pokemon, the Z Captain and the Z Co-Captain, it's just a little bit, just that little extra edge there that... Now, in with this, and this is something that I'm just thinking of now, Manny, last season, I believe, I don't know if it was a quick fix rule change that we added in, or if it was something we just discussed, where you can't have more than one Z-Crystal being held by your team, because you were telling me about OU matches where people would have multiple Z-Crystals just so they could not get hurt by knockoff.
Yes. Or when I haven't seen it a lot lately, but when Z-Moves first came out, I saw teams carrying 2 Z-Crystals, like you said, and it was basically just them being able to pick and choose when they wanted to blow their Z-Move, and like with which Mon. But we are not allowing that.
Okay, yes, so I just wanted to make sure. So that's something, I don't know if that's in the rules, we can just add that in afterward.
I'll probably have to write that in there. Only one of your Z captains can bring a Z crystal. The other one, like if you bring both of them, only one of them can carry the crystal.
Right, exactly. Okay, so I think that's pretty much the biggest rule change that we've got going on. I think the only other thing that you said that you wanted to mention was the fact that there is a big old bold line in the rules itself that any of these rules can be superseded by a commissioner.
Yes, because Pokemon, we say this all the time. If you listen to the podcast, we do it basically every week. There is a segment of the podcast where we go, I didn't know you could do that. Pokemon always throws new shit at us, and we're always like, wow, that shouldn't work the way it does, but it does. So this is just our way of being able to hot fix certain things that we think are kind of oppressive. We don't really normally get too much involved until the season's over. We're pretty good at not changing any really big rules until the season is over. I think we've only ever had to intervene like a handful of times, maybe like less than 5 times. So normally you're not going to hear from us other than if I lose to Tyler and then I spend 3 hours crunching numbers to prove that he cheated. But yeah, you're probably not going to hear from us. So that rule probably won't make a big deal, but we just wanted to be upfront with you so that you know that if we do overturn something or we switch the result of a battle because we felt something was not right, then just, it's tough. Sorry, guys.
Yeah. Other than that, everything's pretty much staying the same. It's still, got to have 6 Pokemon. You got 1,100 points to draft 11 Pokemon. Still playing at level 50, still playing custom game. 1 item per, you can't double up on items anywhere. For those of us that were in Monotype Madness, make sure you remember these changes, because obviously we did not adhere to any of them for those.
No, we were just YOLOing then.
Yeah. So other than that, let's talk about some tier changes. Let's talk about some changes made on the big board here, where I put them all in a Google Doc for Manny to see all very nicely, and there were very few changes other than Pokemon that moved from Tier 4 to Tier 5. But
make Tier 5 great again.
We're
doing it, boys.
That is the tagline of the season, to make Tier 5 great again, but we'll get there. We'll start off first. Very few changes to S. Mega Alakazam moved up just because it can be a very oppressive Pokemon. It is something that, much like Hoopa, with proper preparation, you can make short work of Alakazam, but if your team doesn't have a good answer for it, it can run right through you.
He's just going to slice right through you, especially late game.
So
Mega Alakazam Mega Alakazam is the sole reason that my OU ladder team got to like 15 something. um, so he's definitely a good mon. He will cut through any team like butter if you're not prepared.
Other than that, we are much like any new Pokemon being added in. Zeraora, who recently became made available in Ultra Sun and Moon, I believe, is now part of Tier S. And if anybody wants it, there he is. If anybody wants to test drive him, most of the time, most new mons that come through don't stay in Tier S, but we always like to be cautious.
Yeah, we don't want anything like really dumb because like we don't have enough experience with them. And then they end up somewhere where they're not supposed to be, and then that's no bueno.
Moving on, Pokemon that moved down from Tier S. Manny, you and I, we apply something every so often where a lot of these changes actually are just basically, if nobody has drafted this mon in X amount of seasons, we move it down to make it a little more appealing. And in this case, Keldeo being one of them, because I am the only person to have ever drafted Keldeo, and that was 5 seasons ago.
Yeah, but before we talk about this whole moving down process, I just want everyone to know that me and Joe, we talk about these decisions and we approve them with each other. It's not just me just moving shit down because I want to draft it. No, it's not. I get that all the time, especially from people like Mike. I'm not doing this on purpose. This is a group thing. Me and Joe talk about it together, and then like we even run some of the changes by some other people in the league to make sure that we're not just being crazy talkers. So before anything happens, I want to preface with that. All right, Keldeo, I'm surprised that Keldeo actually qualified for our crazy not draft rule. Because Keldeo is a really good OU mon, so I'm really excited to see it down in Tier 1. I think that its price point is very attractive. Cough cough hint hint. I don't know. I like. We'll see what it does.
Other than that, it's all Pokemon that moved up from Tier 2 into Tier 1. Basically, Pokemon that Manny, you said, Manaphy, Z-Rain Dance Manaphy can be a problem, so that's why it moves up here. Now that is available, it becomes a much more of a threat, so that moves up here. Hippowdon being moved down in the first place, you were like, why did we do that? So it moved back up.
Yeah, that was an oversight.
I did get to the finals with Hippowdon. No, I dropped Hippowdon eventually, just in favor of T-Tar. But either way, I did have it, and it was very good, and I would suggest getting Hippowdon, although sand is pretty expensive now again. Other than that, 2 defensive Pokemon that in Tier 2 were just a little too good for Tier 2 in Gliscor and Tangrowth.
Yeah, Gliscor was just such a cheaper alternative to someone like Landorus that it's just like, why even bother picking Landorus when when Gliscor was there. So we moved Gliscor up just to kind of give him a point value, which I think he's actually worth. I don't think that paying 160 for Gliscor is out of the realm of possibility, and I think that somebody's going to pay for it.
Same for Tangrowth.
I wouldn't feel bad paying 160 for Gliscor, so.
Yeah.
And the same thing goes with Tangrowth. Like, Tangrowth is an absolute, pain in the ass to team build against.
Regenerator goes a long way, especially when you slap an AV on that boy.
Exactly. So, and we're trying to just gut stall.
Yeah, let's call a spade here. We're just trying to make it so you can't stall.
Yep. Yeah. Let's stop pretending that we're moving Gliscor because he's a good OU mon. No, it's because fuck stall.
And as well, which we will see in other tiers here as well, Mega Swampert moved up because Politoed's pretty cheap. You could get a nice cheap rain setter. You could get Prankster Liepard like I did the one season to set your rain just with the Damp Rock, and then Mega Swampert becomes an absolute terror in almost every circumstance, so that's why that moves up.
Yeah, just wanted to make weather a little more appropriate. There were really weird cheap alternatives, like why we moved Stoutland up. We'll talk about that in a little bit, but we moved Stoutland up because why go for Excadrill when Stoutland is so fucking cheap? So we just kind of had to balance out the weather just a little bit to kind of make it kind of like a toss-up to kind of give guys like Excadrill, who doesn't rarely get picked because they're cheaper alternatives. So we're just trying to give different mons to kind of feel and people can kind of explore their points that way.
Right. Moving to Pokemon that are now in Tier 2. The only Pokemon that moved up from Tier 3 this season was Mega Banette, who moved down, I believe, because of the fact that it was, hey, this Pokemon doesn't get picked that often, let's move it down. And then everybody remembered that Prankster D-Bon is a thing, and it's the ultimate equalizer, so...
Like, 100 points for a 1-for-1, like, I'll take that every day of the week.
Everything
100 points to go in and die and kill something, like, fuck, I'll take it. Give me it.
Everything else moved down from Tier 1 here. 3 Megas. Has anybody ever chosen Mega Gyarados, Manny? Is that why we moved it down? Not in the history of our league. In 7 seasons has anybody given Mega Gyarados a shake, a look, anything?
No.
So the thing is, I think whoever gets Mega Gyarados is going to... not run train necessarily, but whoever gets it is going to
very happy.
Yes, if they team build well enough, could very well just punch a ticket to their playoffs like that. So of course that means Mitch is going to get it, and it's not going to do anything.
Wow, the shade.
Other than that, we've got Mega Heracross moving down and Mega Slowbro. Mostly because I feel like the Mega items end up being more restricting to them compared to their normal counterparts. Like now, Slowbro and Mega Slowbro are in the same tier, mostly because Mega Slowbro does get Slack Off, but its special defense isn't that good, and Water Psychic doesn't offer any kind of good resistances for water or anything, so it's just more weaknesses being piled on, and it could be a good physical wall, it certainly can be, but it's, unlike a Tangrowth, say, it doesn't have, Tangrowth has an Earthquake resistance, and Slowbro just has more weaknesses and no Regenerator, so while normal Slowbro gets Regenerator, so...
Normal Slowbro is arguably more valuable.
Yeah.
Change. So.
Hence the move down. Hydreigon moved down, I think just because... Why did we move Hydreigon down?
YOLO.
YOLO. I mean, you'll find that also we'll just, when we're on a roll, it'll just be like, why don't we move this down? Why don't we move this down? And then we just end up agreeing with each other, and it becomes fuck it.
Everybody, move them down.
Landorus I, mostly because nobody has taken it, and you can only use Sand Force. This is not Sheer Force Lando I, who is, of course, an Uber, and is thus banned. Sand Force Lando I, the extra speed you get with Lando I could be pretty good.
Yeah, just a little bit.
But
I also remember Bobby moved Hydreigon down.
Oh, please.
Because we noticed that there was a really big gap between the upper tier dragons and the lower tier dragons.
Ah, yes.
it was like all the dragons were S in 1, and then like there was nothing, and then Haxorus.
Yeah, Goodra I think was like the only dragon in tier 2.
Yeah. Like we just wanted to make the middle tier dragons more accessible.
And to be frank, I think that Haxorus is probably more appealing than Hydreigon because no 4x fairy weakness.
True. But there's no fairy in power, though. So.
Also true, yes. And speaking of fairies, we also moved Sylveon down because 160 to pay for Sylveon. It's got good special defense, it's got good wish support and things like that, but at the end of the day, it's good, but it's just a fairy type.
Yeah, it's just a defensive cleric. It has some cool offensive stuff. I really, really, really love running Specs Pixelated Hyper Beam. But it's not, I don't know. It's not that impressive. I don't think that it needed to be 160, so.
As far as Pokemon moving down from 2 to 3, mostly Pokemon, so Tier 2 in the last 2 seasons has been basically completely rated both times, and both of those times, nobody bothered to take Crawdaunt. So, Crawdaunt moved down because of that, along with Staraptor, who's basically got a very centralized gimmick of
bird spam,
reckless brave birds, reckless close combats.
Yeah, charging. Like you just click brave bird until you're dead.
Yeah, basically. And Mega Ampharos moved down too because I think Tier 3 could have used a new Mega, and nobody really. And I think Mega Ampharos was only chosen once or twice.
Yeah, twice I think.
As far as Pokemon that moved up, Gastrodon moved back up from, because he was at 3, nobody wanted it, then it was taken twice. Both times it was in Tier 4, and Gastrodon can be a very tough Pokemon to get around. It's no Quagsire, I don't think, but it's got its own different ups and downs compared to Quagsire, I'd say.
Yeah, it's a pain in the ass.
It's a pain in the ass.
Fuck Stall.
Stoutland moved up much like Mega Swampert moved up. We talked about that. And Electivire moved up because Electivire is a fucking Swiss Army knife of a Pokemon.
Yeah, he's a fucking coverage monster, man. Like, that shit's so dumb. He has fighting moves. He has an Ice Punch. He has Earthquake. He has
Whatever you throw in against Electivire, it better be defensive or it better be faster, basically.
Yeah. My only defense the 1 year against Electivire was just a Uxie with Colbur Berry. I was like, fuck, that's all I got.
A lot of Pokemon moved down from 3 to 4 this season. Mega Sharp.
I think this is where we made some bold moves.
Mega Sharpedo and Normal Sharpedo moved down because I believe the only time Normal Sharpedo has been taken was that one season by Trevor where he never used it.
Yeah, he only used 6 of his 11.
And of course we can't, and Mega Sharpedo is arguably, because you can't use the speed boost stuff with the rules that we have where you need to Mega immediately on the first turn, just as good as Normal Sharpedo probably.
Yeah.
Lucario moved down. You have been a big proponent of moving Lucario down like over and over and over and over. You want this motherfucker out of tier 3.
I don't know. Lucario is just a very whelming Pokemon.
Yes, I know, I agree.
I don't think I'm underestimating his value. I might be underestimating him a little bit, but I definitely don't overestimate it. And whenever I see Lucario, I don't get scared. I don't go, oh boy, here it is. It's just, oh, okay. I gotta watch out for that bullet or that fucking priority moves he's got. He's got 7 of them.
We moved Roserade down. We moved Salazzle down. Toxicroak moved down mostly because it's been pretty unpopular. Tier 4 is rife. Tier 4 and 5 are rife with fighting types, and there's almost every time you're gonna go, why would I take Toxicroak when I could just have Hitmonlee for 40 less points?
Yeah, Hitmonlee was he's so good with Burden. There was no reason for you not to take Hitmonlee over fucking Toxicroak.
We moved Venusaur down. Normal Venusaur.
Yeah. Venusaur. Remember how I said Lucario is very whelming? Venusaur is the epitome of whelm.
The whelmiest.
Yeah, its stats are like Andy Dalton. It's very just middle of the road kind of a dude.
But if you get him in AJ Green, he might make the playoffs.
Exactly. If you get him one or two dudes, then maybe. But is he gonna win you something by his own? No. So, I felt like that was a good move to make Venusaur a little more attractive. Because I do think he's a mon worth drafting.
And Wishy-Washy moved down because nobody wants it. And it's, I'm pretty sure, untiered in Smogon, which means it probably should be in tier 5, but we're not going to do a drop that precipitous unless you're a Alolan Raichu.
Yeah, right.
And finally, as you said, make tier 5 great again. Here we are with close to 20 Pokemon being dropped down from tier 4 to tier 5 here. Mega Abomasnow, the first one. So basically, Abomasnow is completely irrelevant now.
I mean, outside of Scarf Abomasnow, or if you wanted to run a weird Hail where you ran Ice Rock Abomasnow, but I think Mega Abomasnow is gonna fit right in tier 5. I think it's gonna be a very, very, very attractive tier 5 pick.
Hopefully, I mean, you gotta waste your Mega on it is the problem, but I guess it might be good. I don't know. We'll I hope somebody takes it. So that's basically.
I hope so too. It's a stats monster.
Many of these that move down are just Pokemon that are barely ever, if not ever, never ever picked. Excelgor is a Pokemon that may have been taken once. Its claim to fame is that it's got 145 speed and 100 special attack, so it could fill the Electrode role very well. The only problem being Bug is not a very good type.
No. I mean, who knows though? Bug made it really ridiculously far in the monotype match.
Yeah, that's the thing. It might have some cool stuff happen if you take Excelgor, because it can, if you could U-turn if you want, but other than that, Specs 145 speed Bug Buzzes can do some damage at 100 special attack, especially when Specs Electrode did a lot for me last season, and it's got 80 special attack.
I fucking love Electrode.
Aromatisse moved down because nobody picks it.
No, not yeah. Hashtag not worth.
Bruxish moved down because nobody picks it, but I think it's an interesting option. The only problem being there are a million water types and there are a million psychic types, and do you really want Bruxish to be your water psychic type?
Yeah, no. That's the long answer. No.
Comfey moved down here, who Comfey may have been drafted. I know Rob drafted him. I don't know if anybody drafted it other than that. Priority, fairy, draining moves is good on paper, but I don't know. That's pretty much all you're really doing with it.
Yep. I mean, it could be like a little bit offensive like, if you give it like a life orb. Like I've seen life orb, calm mind, Comfeys kind of do some work in UU. But I feel like trying to buff the power level of tier 5. This is buffing the tier, but it's also not breaking.
Right, not breaking the game. 20 points can make a difference, but not really. Drampa. Nobody has taken Drampa yet. I think it could be a good option because it's a good special attacking dragon. It's incredibly slow, which is partial problem, but if you slap that motherfucker on a... We saw what Vikavolt could do on a Trick Room team. I think that Drampa could, if somebody wants to go Trick Room, Drampa would be a very good and a very cheap piece because it's got like 120 something special attack, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, it's definitely up there, especially with Berserk too.
Oh yeah, and Sapsipper.
Oh.
Normal Gallade, taken once, rarely used as far as I can remember. Not much to say about Normal Gallade. It's kind of crappy. It's okay.
Yeah.
I'd take normal Metacham instead, which is in tier 4, I believe. Golisopod moving down to tier 5 here. Emergency Exit is an absolutely terrible thing to be saddled with, but in the right circumstances, Banded Aqua Jets or Banded First Impression can do pretty well.
Yeah, it just hurts.
It hurts. Guzzlord in tier 5. Guzzlord was taken once, I want to say. I have no idea like what you could really do with it. It's got the high HP, but other than that, it might, I don't know, it might do something. It gets
the style plays.
It gets hammer arm, I know that. So if somebody wants
to, a lot of weird moves too.
Yeah, if somebody wants to do something cool with Guzzlord, there you go. There's your chance.
Yeah, it's 40 points. Take a flyer. Like everyone now just takes flyers on tier 4 and 5, and like they end up like either not using them or using them once. So it's like what are
you losing, really?
Yeah, exactly. Like I think all these changes are really going to make people value tier 5 a little bit more.
Komala moved down. Komala was taken once by Thomas. Its claim to fame being it switched in when Mario used a Z-Ghost with Mega Alakazam. Other than that, I don't know what Komala can really do. It's constantly asleep, so you can't status affect it, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much it. Mudsdale taken once by Rob, the year that it was introduced. Whatever the name of its ability is, where it gains defense on... Wasn't it? Stamina, thank you. That can work pretty okay, I guess, but you just need to bring in a special attacker, and then that's it.
He did.
Passimian, never been taken since it was introduced. I really like Passimian.
Same.
But nobody's taken it. And now maybe that it's less points, because again, glut of tier 4 is Hariyama, all of the Hitmons, Toxicroak now. Gallade was there, Metacham. You have all these fighting types in tier 4, and now hopefully Passimian is a little bit more Sawk in tier 4 too. So many fighting types, goddamn. Hopefully Passimian can like draw a little attention.
Hopefully. I definitely like it. I like the speed stat. I like its move set. It's very simplistic. It's a really easy mon to get like.
It does get used. Justified, I think. Justified or Defiant, whichever one. I forget. I always get them confused.
It gets the one that increases the attack after dark type move.
I think that's Justified. Either way, Shiftry never been taken. So good Sucker Punch user. That's about it. That's all I know about Shiftry.
Grass sucks.
Grass Dark especially is rough. 4 times bug weakness. Shiinotic, never been taken. Does get Spore, does get Strength Sap. Nobody cares.
Nope.
Skuntank, move down, never been taken. Bug Dark could be cool. It's got after, or not Bug Dark, excuse me, Poison Dark could be cool. Does get Aftermath.
Bog.
Does get Toxic Spikes. Could be a decent utility mon, but in the same tier as Drapion, you want Drapion 100% of the time.
Yeah, Drapion's just a little more useful.
Togetic, taken once, I believe. Now, we often, Pokemon with the Eviolite that show up, we do try to keep them in decent positions. I mean, you might be able to do something with Togetic, but, you're going to have to try your damnedest.
Yeah, it's no Girder.
And finally, Turtonator, because Turtonator's got good physical D, but why would you want a Dragon type that doesn't really have a lot of offensive output and is incredibly slow?
Yeah, he's very middling.
Not even middling, it's just, I'd take Drampa over Turtonator, and...
I would take any dragon over. I would take Guzzlord over Turtonator.
So that's what we got going for the changes here, moving into Season 8. So, obviously everything that moved down we would like people to take just because we want to see what they can do. So, keep your mind straight on that one. But before we finish up here, Manny, is there anything you'd want to add in?
Make Tier 5 great again. I want people just to think about their lower tier picks a little bit more.
Get my boy Cryogonal.
They kind of get tossed aside, and lower tier picks are not a joke.
No, they are not.
Lower tier picks help win championships, like straight up.
That is incredibly true. That is an absolutely true fact. Get Eviolite Piloswine, something that I love. Get Quillfish. I fucking love Quillfish. Scyther is great in Tier 5. Get Vivillon. Get a fucking Compound Eyes Sleep Powder Vivillon. Get some QDs up. Get Xatu with Magic Bounce. I love Xatu. Get Electrode. I did great with Electrode last season.
Any electric type.
Get Toucannon just because you could burn people with Beak Blast. Because it's a guaranteed burn on a contact move. Because it's really good. Get Yanmega for fuck's sake.
Had Yanmega. Love him.
We saw Pyroar did a lot. Get Rhydon. Rhydon's great. Rhydon probably should be Tier 4.
Probably should be Tier 4.
Tier 5 has a lot of Pokemon that are great. And one other thing, which I think we've mentioned before, but just to bring back up, if you want to draft a Pokemon that's not on this list and also not Uber, it's 40 points. If you want Pikachu, if you want any mid-tier Pokemon that you could use, and if you want like Lickitung, if you want to use Eviolite Lickitung, you could do that. That's just 40 points. Just the going into Season 7, I think it was, the list was so long for Tier 5. We cut out like 40 Pokemon that were just never drafted.
People got lost in the list.
But don't let
Lickitung
that...
is not on the list. What the heck?
Yeah. Right? Because Licky Licky is there.
Interesting. Oh, now I know.
Did I just give you an idea that you to get Eviolite Lickitung?
Yeah, dude. It's great.
So, yeah, the options are out there. But either way, as we move into the draft here, I'm going to continue pestering people for... I've got about half of the names and half of the draft picks so far, which hopefully, because there are some people like Thomas who haven't given me a draft pick yet, hopefully he doesn't choose something that means I have to go back and ask somebody else, like, hey, somebody else took your pick, you got to re-choose. Thanks. So, I'm going to keep doing that, and as we move into the season here, I am very much ready to do some new and interesting things. I'm thinking we're also going to do some live broadcast like we did for Monotype Madness, basically. A game of the week, possibly. Bring that back if we can get all of our ducks in a row for some of them. But it all depends on the people battling. You guys are the lifeblood.
We drive the ship.
Exactly, but we need you guys to be there for us too. So I think then with that, everybody out there, it's Season 8 next week, starting up. Everybody out there. I'm Joe. Have fun.
Peace, guys. Good luck.